Insulin dysregulation. More and more we're understanding that our metabolic health and our mitochondria and how we use energy is affecting disease processes, even dementia. So you guys understand what type 2 diabetes is? It's insulin resistance, which means insulin is the hormone that when our blood sugar starts to rise, insulin basically takes the sugar out of our blood and is able to transport it into our cells to be used for energy. But if we constantly have high amounts of blood sugar from snacking all day, having lots of high sugary foods, just kind of eating like most Americans do, then insulin is constantly having to come in and try to get the blood sugar out. And the insulin basically annoys the insulin receptors so much that they go, I'm not listening to you anymore. So those receptors, that key doesn't work anymore. And now we have to get more and more insulin to be able to get the sugar out of our blood, because high blood sugar will kill you, right? This is what insulin dysregulation is, or a decrease in insulin sensitivity. And this leads to type 2 diabetes. As you see your blood sugar get higher and higher, insulin isn't able to do what it's designed to do. Now you get a diagnosis of diabetes. Well, they are often calling Alzheimer's disease type 3 diabetes, meaning it's a insulin sensitivity issue in the brain, that we're seeing that the brain is not able to get the energy necessary to keep those cells healthy. It's just like type 2 diabetes, but how it affects the brain. And so maintaining a healthy insulin levels and blood sugar levels is very important to preventing diabetes. If you've been told you have pre-diabetes, I would take it like full court press. This is going to be the most important thing that I focus on right now. Is I'm going to get out of that pre-diabetes stage. I'm going to walk so many steps every day. I'm gonna start lifting weights. I'm gonna track my meal planning. I'm gonna get on the advanced eating plan. This is so important, because if you allow your body to stay in pre-diabetic stages or to get into full-blown diabetes, it is a terrible future that you're looking at. You can overcome it and you can reverse it, but it will affect so many areas of your health, including your brain health. And I just see so many people very casually be like, well, yeah, they told me I was pre-diabetic, and they change nothing, and they just wait until they're put on metformin or insulin or medication, and now you're just managing your diabetes. You don't reverse diabetes with medication, you're managing it. And so that is not a good plan for your future health. You can reverse it, you just have to take it seriously. And if this is a concern for you with brain health, just know you're accelerating it if you don't handle that situation. Essential fatty acids are very important, which is why we recommend omega-3s. I kind of already talked about that, so just to get through everything and not keep you late, I'm going to zoom kind of through it. But essential fatty acids have been shown to help with things like fibromyalgia pain, depression and bipolar disorder, Alzheimer's disease, because of how the essential fatty acids protect the vascular system and reduce brain inflammation. Inflammation, we do not want inflammation. It'll definitely affect the brain. This is a great example of just quality when it comes to your supplements. On the right is a Costco omega-3 that they sell. Really inexpensive. You get a huge bottle of it at a cheaper price per pill. But one of the differences, and this is the one we carry here, if you look at where it says natural fish oil, it's 1,000 milligrams. And it provides 300 milligrams of total omega-3, EPA, and DHA. You see that? So you're getting 300 milligrams, whereas like with the ones that we carry here, you're getting 1,000 milligrams of the EPA and the DHA. So the quality really does matter as far as like also the potency of those essential fatty acids. And you're gonna get your money's worth when you get one that works for you. Sleep apnea, untreated sleep apnea will increase your health risk of pretty much everything. But, does anyone think it's a good idea to starve your brain of oxygen? How is that going to help your brain over the next 10 years? And that's what's happening with sleep apnea. Like 70% of people that have really loud snoring have sleep apnea, and a lot of people don't ever get tested to realize it. If you're not getting good quality sleep, if you're waking up frequently during the night, or you slept but you keep waking up exhausted, talk to your doctor about having a sleep study, or get some kind of a sleep tracker to give you some details about your quality of sleep, because it's very important that you sleep.
But
and you get oxygen.
Don't you like wake up like you can't breathe or something? I mean, you would know whether you have sleep apnea.
No. Most people just stay asleep, but they wake up exhausted. Now, a sleep tracker will often track, hey, you stirred and moved and woke up 20 times during the night, but you will often not have a memory of it. It's like the inability to get oxygen in your body and the loud snoring wake you up just enough that you come out of that sleep cycle that you're in, and then you get a breath, you go back to start getting back into your light sleep and then deep sleep. But because you keep constantly slightly waking up, you never get those full deep sleep cycles, and then you wake up exhausted.
Is that something that can like if you improve your health and just your lifestyle habits, is that something that can be reversed?
It can.
Just through that?
Even they've shown that if you lose 20 pounds, 40% of people will reverse their sleep apnea with a 20-pound weight loss. I mean, that's a pretty good chance of just doing that. It also is.
Do you really have to snore though to be able, or not necessarily?
I would assume that you would have to, because it's a you can't get enough oxygen in kind of sound.
It seems like that would be an easy thing to record even.
Yeah, your wife can tell you.
You could just record.
Usually spouses can tell. They are they breathing?
That's
and then suddenly
Actually, when my husband stopped snoring or woke me up, I got used to his snoring, but if his snoring stopped, I'd wake up.
Yeah, that makes sense.
That's
One of the importance of sleep, and one of the issues with sleep apnea besides starving your brain of oxygen, is that you don't get into the deep sleep cycle, which we talked about. And a really important thing happens when you're in deep sleep. It's called your lymphatic system, and it's you have your lymphatic system. Most people know what that is. Your lymphatic system is like the lymphatic system, but for the brain. And it's a waste clearance mechanism in the brain that is up to 10 times more active during sleep than while we're awake. So this cleaning of our brain metabolic factors happens mostly when you're asleep. So if you're not getting good quality sleep, you're not cleaning your brain of the waste products. It is most active during sleep, during non-rapid eye movement, non-REM sleep, which is our deep sleep, where it removes neurotoxic waste products like amyloid beta and tau, which those have been shown, when we see those accumulating in the brain tissue, that's where we get Alzheimer's diagnoses. And so it's important we're getting that clearing happening. And the brain washing process is facilitated there's some changes that happen in the brain during this part of our sleep cycle, which allow for increased cerebral spinal fluid flow. So we need lots of good, healthy cerebral spinal fluid flow, and this is how the lymphatic system will work. That will make sense in a second when I talk to you about that. Sleep apnea, this is where we were talking about some of the causes. Normal breathing during sleep, you're getting oxygen in through your nose and your mouth. But with obstructive sleep apnea, which is the most common type of sleep apnea, they found that the soft palate on the roof of the mouth basically starts drooping and becomes soft, and it becomes an obstruction, and that plus the tongue falling back into the back of the throat block our airway, and this is obstructive sleep apnea. So you're asking if that can be reversed. One, weight gain can cause obstructive sleep apnea, basically just having more weight on the chest and the neck area, they believe. So losing that weight often will reverse it, but also it can be a neurological factor. So if you ever seen someone lose nerve function to a limb, their limb gets soft and it gets So we're like, the tone of the muscle is gone. So it's like, it's droopy, right? It doesn't have like a tension to it anymore. That's the importance of nerve activity to the muscles, is the tone of the muscle. When we have nerves that come from the very top of our spine, including our cranial nerves, which are just above our atlas, which control the tone of the tongue, which is called our hypoglossal nerve, and then also the vagus nerve has an effect on the tone of the soft palate. And so dysfunction in the nervous system, and this is where chiropractic comes into play, and there are lots of different cases of chiropractic care. It's the only change that a patient goes through, and their sleep apnea reverses. Can be improved if we find issues at the very top of the spine here and are able to address that. I'll show you on this chart. So this is just showing kind of a cranial nerve where they come from at the very top, and the connection to the atlas and the vagus nerve. There's a very big connection to where spinal misalignments at the atlas create subluxations that can affect the vagus nerve. Now this was Roger Sperry won a Nobel Peace Prize in 1981, I believe, for his brain research. And his conclusion was 90% of the stimulation and nutrition to the brain is generated by movement of the spine. Movement of our spine creates proprioception, which is this feedback information that goes to the brain from the movement of our joints. And so this is why not moving is one of the reasons it's so detrimental. And specifically, we want movement of our spinal joints, where we have a lot of proprioceptors that generate energy for the brain. And he found that the more distorted that a spine is, when the spine is out of its normal alignment, one of the things that happens is those vertebrae become fixated, where they're not moving properly. And then he found in his study, the more distorted the spine was, the less energy the brain had for cognition, for metabolism, and for immune function. So another big plug for how important corrective chiropractic care can be. The effects of upper cervical misalignments, that C1, C2 area, it can create spinal cord tension. It can affect the venous drainage in the brain. It can affect arterial supply, cerebral spinal fluid flow. I'll show you a video in a second that shows how it improves the cerebral spinal flow. Balance, stress, pain, altered function,